Have you seen the
Zijn het min 20 hier? Zon. Sorry, zon. Wat is die dubbel zaad over? Oh, dat is gewoon zo. Dat is begrijpen.
Have you seen the old man in the closed down market, kicking up the papers with his worn out shoes? In his eyes you see no pride, and held loosely at his side.
Ja, mag ik fout houden. Right. Oké.
Holly, hè?
At his side, yesterday's paper telling yesterday's news.
Nou, Anne. Nou, lekker warm, hè? Nee. Lekker warm. Is dit dan lekker warm?
Can you tell me you're lonely, and it's safe for you that the sun don't shine? Or let me take you by the hand and lead you through the streets of London. I'll show you something to make you change your mind. And have you seen the old girl who walks the streets of London, dirt in her hair and her clothes in rags? She's no time for talking.
To do this on the way down to Greenwich if you so wish. Would you like me to point out the places that we pass on the way down to Greenwich?
Ja.
No? Alright.
Hij gaat nog wel terug naar elkaar.
I will continue to point out the places that we pass. But very shortly we're going to pass beneath Tower Bridge, which is in fact the eastern boundary line to the City of London. As soon as we pass through the bridge, we leave the actual City of London behind and enter into London's East End. The actual City of London is just 1 square mile. It's one of the smallest capital cities anywhere in the world. And as we come through the bridge, just to our left-hand side, we have the areas of Wapping and Whitechapel. And also, just coming into view very shortly on our left, you'll see the entrance to the St Catherine's Dock. Now, this is one of the last remaining docks that was taking place here on the River Thames. Many years ago, all cargo that would arrive in London would arrive via the river, and about 40% of this cargo was being stolen. So the Thames Police was set up by ship owners and the Admiralty to try and put an end to the thieving ways. It almost worked because there's not too many pirates left on the Thames nowadays. And the only ones that are left to work on the pleasure boats from Westminster to Greenwich, looking at the tower. Now just to our right there, we've passed the church spire. That's St Mary's Church of Rotherhithe. Buried in the grounds of this church is the captain and part owner of the pilgrim ship, the Mayflower, a Captain Christopher Jones. Now, the Mayflower ship was actually built and set sail from this area here on our right-hand side. This area is Rotherhithe. It set off for Plymouth to pick up its passengers, who would later become known as the Pilgrim Fathers, before setting sail to find a new world. And the ship actually returned to this point on the river and was broken up somewhere along the shore here. Now, just ahead of us on the left-hand side, we have the oldest and most famous pub that still stands on the banks of the River Thames. This little black and white pub coming up on our left is called the Prospect of Whitby, and it does in fact date back to the year 1548. Although back in those days it was called the Pelican. It changed its name in honour of a coal-carrying ship called the Prospect that used to travel from Whitby, bringing its cargo of coal to this point on the river. And the crew of the ship used to drink in the pub there called the Pelican. One evening on the ship's return journey back to Whitby, it was actually lost in a storm at sea, and sadly all the crew perished. So the landlady of the Pelican renamed her pub the Prospects of Whitby in honour of the ship and its crew. Traded on the River Thames. It's also where that famous saying comes from, much courage. Now, I'll tell you a little bit about the Thames that you're travelling on today, folks. At the moment, we're travelling with the outgoing tide. The tide is ebbing out to sea, and it ebbs out for roughly 7 hours until reaching its low water mark, at which point the tide turns and starts to flood back into London. It floods in for roughly 5 hours until reaching its high water mark. Now, to get an idea of an average high water level here on the Thames, look to the river's wall on your right here, and where you see the green moss mark that runs the length of the wall, that is an average high water level here on the River Thames.
Go on.
In its entire length, the Thames is about 250 miles long, and that's from its source in the Cotswold Hills up in Cirencester, all the way downstream to the estuary where the river meets the sea. It's only 95 miles of the Thames is actually tidal, just 95 miles. That's from the estuary where the river meets the sea all the way inland to a place called Teddington. And Teddington is where you come to your first lock, and that is the end of the tidal Thames. Teddington is an abbreviation of Tide Ending Town, which isn't bad. It's called McDonald's. No need to book, just walk straight in and you're served. Now, returning boats. The boats, we're going to leave at 11:40, that's what time we leave, and then they're about 40 minutes, every 40 minutes throughout the day until 5:25, is that right? Yeah, 5:25 is your last boat back to London tonight. There is a timetable on the pier that gives you all the times of returning boats, okay? Well, Greenwich Pier is fast approaching, folks. We're going to make our way into the pier now. Please remain seated until we are safely alongside the pier, and when you leave, just make sure you've got everything with you. Do not spoil your day by leaving anything behind. And lastly, just about the commentary, as I did state, we are not professional guides. We're merely members of the crew who do the commentaries out of the goodness of our hearts. We don't make a charge, we leave it down to you, and if you'd like to show any appreciation, you can do as you leave the boat, where I'll be standing in the traditional manner with the captain's pot. You're under no obligation, it's purely voluntary, although I would like to remind you that it will be me that helps you with the boat, so no pressure.
Carrying her home in 2 carrier bags. So how can you tell me you're lonely? When it's safe for you that the sun don't shine. Well, let me take you by the hand and lead you through the streets of London. I'll show you something to make you change your mind.